Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode. Oh, I stopped myself, David.
I thought this was going to be the last episode, DJ.
Are we going out on top with this? This is the last one.
Yeah.
We're revealing next week.
We got to reveal next week. We might have to get a logo or something too.
Okay, yeah, we'll bring that all out next week. We are the last episode of Frenemies here. We have to make a change because it's a diva YouTube channel.
It's just not cool when someone's more popular than you are. It's not cool.
It's not a good thing, and it's not a good look for us when you try to look it up. And so we had to make a change. We've got Micah Miller, former teammate, working on our new logo. We've got Lindsay working on a few things for an intro. So we'll do that next week. Sounds good, David. We'll just kind of let this one be the last one. And Chris, you can be like the legendary guy that goes out on the last show here.
There we go.
The man, the myth.
Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah.
man. It's awesome to have you on here, Chris. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, buddy. It's going to be a good show, man.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. So, David, man, it's been a crazy week of baseball. Obviously, we came down to the final weekend on a lot of things. Mainly the NL West and the American League wild card were the two things that we were waiting for to kind of see. Other series were determining who was in the home field advantage in some of these playoff matchups. But David, I'm going to kick it off with you, man. What a week for the Yankees. There's a lot of different directions you can go with what happened this week with them. Roller coaster of emotions, I'm sure for you. Talk about the Yankees this week.
Yeah, so crazy week, like you said. The Yankees just did what they've been doing all year. Swept the Red Sox, which felt really awesome. 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays, felt pretty good too. And then we ran into the Rays, DJ, and lost 2 of 3 to them. Thankfully, Sunday, with the season on the line, it took Aaron Judge in the bottom of the ninth to knock in the winning run. So, man, I was sweating. I'm not going to lie. I didn't get to watch the game, but was watching it update on the phone and all that. And I thought for sure, I'm like Chris, we talked about it all fair. I thought for sure the Blue Jays were going to find their way in. I was scared to death to play them, to be honest with you. But it all worked out. So it's going to be Yankees, Red Sox. Super interesting. Red Sox won the season 10-9, 75-74. So pretty even. That's the run scored. So pretty even series. I got to like the Yankees in this one, though, DJ. Garrett Cole's on the mound. I know that's at Fenway, but I like the Yankees in this one.
So the Blue Jays fans are a little bit upset with Kevin Cash from the situation of the standpoint where they thought he should have walked Judge to load the bases to set the double play up, and then face Stanton, but you're kind of picking your poison. So Blue Jays fans were just looking for something to be mad about and look at the other team and make excuses about, I guess. But that's a tough spot to be in. I think Giancarlo Stanton hits the ball harder than any human being alive. So I don't know if you take your chances with him or not. Regardless, they found a way to win that game 1-0, David. What a crazy game that was. And then a lot of things had to fall into place for Boston as well there. And it was an awesome ending. So, Chris, I want to talk to you about this real quick. So give us a little bit of perspective on the Blue Jays, man. You were talking about them earlier and how you were really high on them. So what happened to them at the end there?
Man, it just blew me away because I really, every time they played Atlanta, they beat us like a drum. I mean, it wasn't even close. So I definitely am glad that they're out, but I'm really shocked that they are. Vlad, can't say enough about that dude, man. He's off. And then Bichette, them were 2 good strokes right there. I hate to see a team like that when they're doing really well. Probably best time they've had in a while, and then go out like that, on a 1-0. And like I say, who you gonna pitch to? You had 2 of the big dogs up. So
that was real close to being an out too. Went right off the pitcher's glove. It was a line shot back up the middle, right off his glove. Crazy season. DJ, back to the Blue Jays. I wanted to talk to you. We were really banging on old Marcus Semien, or at least I was, to begin the year. I don't know if you remember that. Dude hit 40-some bombs. So I guess we are wrong every once in a while.
Yeah, maybe just once in a while. No, so David, man, I'm with you on this. I think the Yankees are going to pull this off at Fenway. Tough crowd, obviously. They have the home field advantage. And watch out for Hunter Renfroe, David. I told you he was going to have an awesome year this year. And, man, has he been great defensively. He's got 31 homers on the year. He's been tough, man. And this offense for the Red Sox, very good. And they're going to match up with you with Nathan Eovaldi. And I do like Garrett Cole over Eovaldi any day of the week. But I'm going to go with the Yankees. Chris, what do you think is going to win that series there?
As bad as I hate to say it, I'm gonna have to go with the Yankees too, man. But it will be. I think it'll be a 1-run game. 3-2, 2-1, something like that. I think that's what it'd go. I think it'll be a pitcher's duel. Is what I think it'll end up being.
I agree with you, man. And David, here's the thing: like, if Cole can only give you 6 or 7, you're going into that bullpen, which recently has been pretty good. There's no doubt about it. They've been pretty good recently.
I'll have to hand it to
know,
Boone, man.
Woo, so what do you think? Are you
I'll have to hand it to Boone. He's figured it out, man. Clay Holmes, who they got in a trade, Brian Cashman stole him from the Pirates for literally nothing. He's been amazing. Throws 100 miles an hour. 100 miles an hour. Loizaga is back. He's awesome. Green still is shaky, but the big news is Severino's in the pen now, and he's been lights out. So I definitely like the Yankees pen better than the Red Sox, no doubt about it. Cole's been shaky. His last 2 starts have been real shaky. So, we'll see how that goes. But if it comes down to the bullpen, I like the Yankees' chances.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll get into this a little more later on with the Yankees. We're not even close to being done with talking about them, but just kind of a little perspective on you as how the week went leading up to the playoffs. And yes, I can just say congratulations, David. Unlike your fantasy baseball team, which finished dead last, your team is actually in the playoffs. So congratulations on that. So we'll transition to the Cubs. And I got a few things to say here as we wrap up the season. And then I kind of want your perspective on the Cubs here, Chris, and what happened this year. And it's been a crazy year to say the least. So we did lock up the 7th pick in the draft coming up in 2022. So we'll immediately get a stud. The last time we drafted in the top 10, we got Ian Happ out of it. So that's probably a good thing. I hope they don't go with a pitcher. We saw with Kumar Rocker here how that can work out for you. Pitchers are just way too tough to take, I think, in the first round there. I'd really go offense and get your pitchers through free agency, but I hope they do it that way. So we took 2 or 3 from the Cardinals this past weekend, which was awesome. Saturday's game was a lot of fun. Cubs were down 5-4 in the top of the 9th. 2 outs, 2 strikes on Happ. Told Nicole and Lindsay, I'm like, he's going to jack one here. And I actually called it, man. It was gone. Like, he busted that thing out dead center, put him up, and then Rowan Wick came in and shut him down. Future closer for us. He's been kind of up and down all year too. I've talked about him a lot, David, but he's been good this last week. 71 and 91 on the season. So after getting rid of the whole team at the deadline, we tried to piece together some players for the future. One of those new guys is Trace Thompson, who is Clay Thompson of the Warriors' brother. He's been playing in the major leagues for a while now. Had some time with the White Sox and Dodgers. He had a grand slam in that series as well, getting a little bit of time. In 15 games, he had 9 ribbies, so he played well down the stretch. Ian Happ led the team with 66 ribbies. When you lead a team with 66 ribbies, you've had a bad year. Patrick Wisdom had 28 bombs. Your batting leader was Frank Schwindel, who hit 342 on the season and 222 at bats, and that's about what every player on this team got, was about 200 something at bats. So it was a long year, man. Kyle Hendricks was the only guy above 10 wins for the team with a 14-7 record. Zach Davies was terrible. He's a free agent now. He was 6-12 in the year with a 578. I wish it would have stopped him, not started him down the stretch, but they got as much out of him as they could, I guess. Adbert Alzolay was awful. Alec Mills had a 5.07 ERA. Our pitching staff was just terrible this year. Jake Arrieta is out of baseball now. Not sure if he'll ever be signed again after falling apart with the Padres as well when they signed him. So that was a tough thing to see him go down. One of the highlights was Justin Steele. He did show signs of promise. He was 4-4 this year with a 4.26 ERA. So he did a lot of good for us. We got a free agent class coming up that's not that big of a deal. So Robinson Chirinos, Zach Davies, Matt Duffy, Jose Lobaton, Adam Morgan, Andrew Romine, and Austin Romine are only free agents. So we can let all those guys go for all I care and just go work out and get some different guys and spend that money, start the rebuilding process real quick. I was disappointed to see that they were the 11th in spending this year, and that's got to change with this ownership's got to start spending money. We need to be in the Yankees and Dodgers spending money. We have no reason not to be. We generate so much revenue here. Fans are always there. So it's time, man. And my last thing to say about this team this year, we use 67 different players on this team, Chris. 67. I don't even know who some of these guys are. It's that many guys. So that tied a record for most players used in a single season with the 2019 Mariners. 67 players. That's unbelievable. That's almost your full major league team, AAA team, and part of your AA team, man. It's been crazy. It's been that kind of year. Seen so many guys put Cubs uniforms on and go away. So, Chris, what'd you think of the deadline when the Cubs got rid of their entire team, basically? Did you think of me, first of all, and wonder how much I was crying?
I knew you definitely was crying. Now, we got one of them.
Yes.
And he's actually been pretty good for us. He cooled off lately, but I think he actually might. I'm kind of favoring him starting over Duvall actually in the playoffs.
Really?
The only reason I say that is because Duvall's probably been on like 8 games. He ain't had a hit. So, and Yark, he's Mr. October. Yep. He comes alive in the playoffs. So I'd stick him out there for game 1 for sure. But now going back to the Cubs though, man, that blew me away. Did it shock you or did you see it coming?
Oh, I did not see it coming.
No, I need to interject right here. So DJ spent all year telling me how it wasn't going to happen. The Cubs were in it. And anyway, I went like 2 days and DJ wouldn't even text me back. It was really sad. We're supposed to be, together on this podcast deal. And I was trying to get his reaction, and all Nicole would send me occasionally was just pictures of DJ crying. So it was a great few days, but no, DJ was completely delusional all year, just to answer your question, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, you have that many players, man. I didn't realize they went through that many players. No wonder. I mean, how do you even get any kind of consistency there?
Nope. You can't. Like 71 and 91 and 67 different players used. And I mean, it was a lot.
They were like in first place in June. That's the bad thing.
It's crazy.
It was crash and burn.
It was, man. And it was like the first 2 months of the season, you thought, oh my goodness, this team's great. We're going to contend. We got to get a couple starting pitchers. We knew that. But, when we went out west and there was a 9-game road trip, we dropped every single one of those games, if I'm not mistaken. We might have went 1-8. We at least we were 0-9 or 1-8, one of the two, and that was it. And like from then on, it was all downhill from there, and it just stopped so fast, man. And then all the trades came, and then it got worse and worse. And I'm ready to put this one behind me, but the problem is you guys get to have your teams go to the playoffs now, and I got to wait another 6 months till the Cubs play another game. So I'm going to be going nuts over here. And this is the reason we talked off air, Chris, is like, I got to have that team to pull for now in October. So this sure to say Dodgers next week as I'm jumping on that bandwagon again.
They won't be in it next week, DJ. Cardinals are going to take them out.
Yep.
Pick somebody else.
I'm going on right now. Record right now. They're going to beat them. Dodgers are going down.
Wow. Man, we got to talk about that one later for sure, no doubt, because that's going to be an interesting game, and we will get into that soon. So, Chris, transitioning to you, man. Talk about this week, first of all, with the Braves, because I wanted you to get your perspective on the Phillies series, which was huge, that they locked up the division with beating the Phillies. And then after you talk about the week that was, we'll get into the whole year that was for the Braves. So go for it.
Yeah, so that game 1 was very pivotal because they were going against Wheeler. Wheeler's been pretty hot, but Morton's been just as good. And, I think if I'm not mistaken, he went 7 strong innings. And then that's when we get worried. As a Braves fan, you worry when we go to the bullpen. I don't know. It drives me crazy, man, because we don't have a closer. Will Smith he's got like 37 saves, but every time he gets to the mound, I'm more nervous when he's there than if we were throwing somebody else. I'd rather throw one of y'all than Wheeler. But no, that was big. And you talking about the trade deadline with the Cubs? The Braves are exact opposite of the Cubs, man. We wouldn't even 500 till like July. I thought we were out of it. I'd quit watching them. I'd follow them a little bit, but then we started with the trade deadline. Jim made some good moves, man, and he does some things that you're thinking, man, that's a dumb move, but they ended up blowing up, man. Soler, he's my favorite pickup that we've got. He is like on fire right now. And but now then it's a game 2. We Freed pitch and he pitched well. I think he went 7 innings. Bullpen's been good, but that's the key for us. That whole Philly series was that, you got Harper. He was like 0 for 11 those 3 games.
Good call. Yep.
And then when we won that first one, you could just see it took the air out of them. And we won that second one, and it was just, it was over then. But yeah, man, that was a big series, and then to sweep them, that made it even better.
No doubt about it, man. So you brought up that stat. Bryce Harper was 5 Ks, 0 for 11, man. And he's an MVP candidate, obviously. And Bryce Harper's great, don't get me wrong, but it'd be interesting to see, man. I don't know, is he big game Bryce or not? Because those were huge games for the Phillies. And did he ever lay an egg? And then he went to the last series of the season and started hitting again when it didn't matter. So I don't know, man. I was really disappointed to see him do that. But, you got to hand – and I did hear something else too. You got to hand it to the Braves pitching, though. They shut him down, man. And it's a lot of credit to them. And Max Fried's a dog, man.
Well, like I say, they made it – both of them made it into the 7th inning. That's huge. The further the starters can go, the better for us. Because that's just, when we turn it over to the bullpen, that's just, you just don't know what you're getting with the Braves, man.
Absolutely, man. So look forward, and we'll talk about them in a little bit. The Braves coming up here in the postseason. So, Chris, talk about your fandom with the Braves here for a few minutes. Talk about, first of all, how did you become a Braves fan? Who turned you on to the Braves? Give us like your favorite player growing up, maybe your favorite player of the Braves on this roster as well.
Okay. So growing up, it was just, you might be shocked on this. And so my team growing up was actually the Cubs. Nice. And here's why, because my uncle actually played for the Cubs. I'm sure you know a third baseman named Ron Santos.
Oh, just slightly.
Yeah, just slightly. He played behind him. So he was his backup. Yeah. And
really?
yeah.
Is that your dad's brother or your mom's brother? Or
my mom's brother.
Wow.
Yeah. Ron Campbell. That's who it was.
Was he on the 69 team, do you know?
I know he got traded to the Pirates, but I know he was on the Cubs there for a while. I've got a picture of him in Wrigley Field in his uniform and stuff. I've got his baseball card signed, so that's some cool stuff. But just growing up around here, there wasn't no baseball teams but the Braves, so that's kind of how closest to you just kind of grow with them. But Murphy was always big growing up, but this one to get David. My favorite player growing up was Mattingly.
Yeah, attaboy. That was my favorite growing up too.
Yeah, like Mattingly and Strawberry. That was my 2 favorite. But as far as the Braves, man, Chipper's always been good. The best one right now is Freeman. Yeah, he's the one I like because he's not a showboat. He's just a laid back blue collar guy that just goes about his business. And dude, he started out cold this year. We were worried about him in Atlanta, but man, he's fired up. He ended up with 30 home runs, and he's actually last game of the season he went 2 for 3. It put him at 300 batting average. So there's only one of 5 Braves that have 2 consecutive seasons of 30 homers and 300 batting average.
Wow.
So it's only like him and Hank and Chipper and I can't remember who the other ones are, but 5 all time. So yeah, he's put it together and he's hot. So I'm liking our chances.
Chris, what do you
Hey,
think about
is
Dale
Freeman-
Murphy? Is Dale Murphy a Hall of Famer in your eyes?
Man, he has to be, right? So there's 2 people I've always said that need to be in there. Dale Murphy and Pete Rose. I think both of them need to be in. Because Murphy, I can argue because I mean, look at different people that they put in that don't have the numbers, and I'm like, if you're going to let them in, then you got to let Murphy in. That's
think
just, even if I
think
wasn't a Braves fan.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's very comparable to Jim Rice, and Jim Rice is in there, and
Yes.
guys like that. I mean, so David, I interrupted you. Go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask you guys, am I mistaken? Is Freeman a free agent after this year? I thought he was.
So they were trying to sign him before the season, and they couldn't get it done. And he said he didn't want to negotiate during the season. He wanted to concentrate on playing.
Woo.
He says he wants to stay, but he's from the West Coast.
Mm.
So there's some of the fan boards are nervous about it.
Yeah, I can understand.
But I'd hate to see him go.
Yeah, I watched that documentary that he did, or ESPN did for him, man. I gained a ton of respect for him. And it's actually one of my boy, Leland, that's one of his favorite players. So
Yeah.
I think he'd look good in pinstripes, guys.
No.
Oh, I agree on that. No, please, no. I actually like Freddie Freeman. I'm not at all like a Braves fan at all, or by any means. And but I do not want to see Freddie Freeman. It's like that guy behind you right now that makes me sick to look at. So
yeah. Hey, and by the way, I looked it up. Ron Campbell played 60, 64, 65, and 66. Pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So he was not a part of that 69 team, but who cares, man? That's really cool to play. Because like you said, that's Sano era, that's Ernie Banks, that's all those guys, like Billy Williams.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, not like say I'm not a Cubs fan, but to actually say I played at Wrigley Field, that would be really cool too.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have an uncle that played for a major league team, how can you not be a fan of that team growing up? Like, that makes total sense. And plus, I mean, obviously that's way before we were even born when he played, but the Cubs were on WGN all the time, when you come home.
Oh yeah. Sandberg, man, he was my Cub. I liked him.
Oh yeah. Sandberg was a man, and
Dawson,
all the boys. Yep.
Yep.
That was our age group back then, man. When we come home from school and watch those guys play, and you'd watch the Braves and the Cubs, man. That's who was on TV all the time. And now I can watch all 30 teams, and it's crazy, man, how it's changed over the years. But it's changed for the better. So we'll get back into your story a little bit more later, Chris, too, as well. So we'll kind of jump in here to the final standings, guys. And one of the things that I kind of want to go through, David, is we're going through this, and we'll talk more at length about the teams that are actually in the playoffs. But as we're going through this, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the teams that missed out. And there's a lot of really good teams that missed out. And so the first question I want to ask both of you and get your opinion on is, with teams like the Blue Jays missing out with so many wins and such a good team, do you guys feel like it's right to have 5 in each league like they do now? Or did you like it last year where it was 8 per league? I'll start with you, Chris.
No, I don't like the 8 per league.
Okay.
I mean, why play the season? And I mean, what's the point? Why don't we just let everybody in, DJ?
Yes.
Like you in the Hall of Fame.
Agree.
Well, that's how the NBA and the NHL do it. They each have like 8 teams per conference, and it's 16 teams in the playoffs. Even the NFL's got way more than baseball, I think. They've upped their game a little bit too. And I'm with you guys. I'm not saying, that they should go all the way to 8. But the Blue Jays were 91-71, and they missed the playoffs. And that's just, wow.
Well, I mean, think about this, right? The Dodgers are a wild card. And they're over, how many wins did they end up with? 90-something?
106.
Yeah. So you got the Braves. We're rolling in here at 89 or something like that. You know, we're the division champs. So, yeah, I'm not for. I don't care about the wild cards. That's good, but then I like it the way it is right now.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, that
You'd
makes
have to
sense.
start the playoffs, 2 weeks ago too. That's a whole nother thing. You'd have to cut the season short.
Yep.
So do you guys like the 1-game playoff, or should these series be 3 games? The only problem you run with the 3-game series on these is you push all the teams that they got to face back with a lot of off days, so that'd be hard too. So
1 game.
Yeah, I'm totally good with it. I mean, keep in mind, they've expanded this from what it originally was. So
Right.
I'm good with it. They've expanded it. It's cool. I mean, the way the season ended was cool, but yeah, 1 game. It adds to the drama.
Gotcha. Makes total sense. So the AL West, guys, Houston is your champion. We'll get in them a little later. Seattle, guys, they battled to the end. What a season for the Mariners. And 90-72, finished 2 games back. They were just awesome. The A's were 86-76, also a really good record. They fell short. The Angels had a 77-85 record. Not a good season by them. But the Rangers were 60-102. Wow, is that bad? But so I'm going to talk about a few things here that I saw from the AL West, some notes about the season. I'm going to start with the A's and Matt Olson, guys. A stat that I saw the other day. He broke a single season record for most home runs in a season by a lefty batter against lefty pitchers. He hit 22 bombs against lefties as a lefty. That broke a record that was held by Barry Bonds, of course, and Ken Griffey Jr. and Stan Musial. He tied a record of those 3 names. That's unbelievable for a lefty to hit 22 bombs off of lefties in a season. Big ups to him.
Especially considering where he plays.
Yeah.
It's not easy to hit a home run in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to hit it out to the end zone, DJ.
Yeah.
And they were pitching to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, think about that.
That's a good point too. I mean, Barry Bonds was not getting pitched to a lot of those times in that too. But what a record to break, man. That's impressive. And he's actually the face, man. Matt Chapman had a down year this year for them, and Matt Olson is just consistent year after year after year, and he's got to be the face of the A's. And so I wanted to talk about the Mariners a little bit too. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Kyle Seager, who is the face of the Mariners, basically, as Boston won their game, the Mariners were in the 9th inning with 1 out. And so it's kind of cool, the timing of this. So they saw that they were eliminated. He immediately called timeout and pulled Seager out. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Seager got real emotional. He's obviously probably done with the Mariners there. Spent his whole career there. Did a lot of great things. He had an awesome year this year too. They gave him a standing ovation. All the players hugged him. To get to see that, if the Red Sox would have held off their game another 5 minutes, that wouldn't have happened. So I'm glad that the Mariners fans got to say goodbye to him. What a total awesome career he had for them. Very awesome season. Mitch Haniger's a stud, David. 39 bombs, 100 ribby. He had 5 ribby in Saturday's game to keep him alive. He was on fire that day as well. So Jared Kelenic came up. He's a real deal. 43 ribbies after coming up late and getting a slow start. He caught fire in only 93 games played this year. Kyle Lewis was out most of the year for them, so they'll get him back as well. Chris Flexen, 14-6 this year. Marco Gonzalez was 10-6. Lead that staff. They need to add some depth to that pitching. And top prospect Julio Rodriguez will come up next year too for them. So future's bright in Seattle, guys. They had a great year, man. So Chris, what's your thoughts of the Mariners?
Again, I don't really keep up with a whole lot of the West Coast teams, but yeah, they are definitely loaded. They're always that team that they're never terrible, but they're always there, and they just keep getting better and better. And yeah, I was kind of pulling for them to sneak in there just to see what kind of noise they would make in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was pulling them from knock the Yankees out. David, what do you think about the Mariners season?
I just wonder what would have happened if they had Kendall Graveman, DJ.
Oh,
if,
man.
Jerry DiPoto doesn't, pull his magic there. No, I'm just kidding. I understand why he did that. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. And like you said, the Mariners are set up for a long time. But if this was Seager's last game, don't discount what losing veteran leadership can do to a team. So it'll be interesting to kind of see who takes that role. But yeah, man, they got all these great prospects coming up. They're definitely somebody to watch. But I'm like you, they got to add some depth to that pitching staff. I guess through free agency or trades or whatever. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. And back to the A's, man. I had them as one of my playoff teams. I hated to see them fall out. But look out, Bob Melvin and Billy Beane to the Mets. I don't know if you guys have been reading that kind of thing. Talking about swinging a trade. So keep an eye out for that.
That'd be interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And then they didn't. All of a sudden, they would both be bad because the Mets just turned everything into bad. So that's crazy, man. It's the first I've heard of that. That's very interesting, though. So the Angels, guys, Shohei Ohtani and the boys will try to get better this offseason. They just can't put it together, though. He's the MVP. This is no doubt about it. Combining his stats at the plate and pitching, he's the only one that's going to stop Vladdy from winning the MVP. Vladdy was awesome, 22 years old, and he put the numbers up he did. But talk about Ohtani, Chris. Have you ever seen anything like that, man?
No. It's crazy, man. It's like every time you turn on Sports Center or something, he's hitting a bomb. He's got that wild swing. It reminds me of oh my gosh, I can't think of his name that played for Seattle.
Ichiro.
Yeah. You know, he's got that. It's like a running swing or something, but man, he can just drive it everywhere. He is a man. What was his record in pitching? Do you know?
Get that for us real quick, David. I'm not sure, but he actually shut down at the end there. He did not pitch because they weren't in contention anymore, and they really didn't feel any need to have him go anymore. But he hit over 40 bombs from this guy. Like, I've never seen anything even close to this. And I guess obviously Babe Ruth was the guy who did this back in the day, but this is just absolutely crazy what he got. So what's he got, David?
9-2 with a 3.18 ERA.
That's crazy. So I got a question. So take the pitching out of it. Just batting. You take him or Vladdy?
Oh man,
you got to take Vladdy, right? I mean, I love Ohtani, but he did only hit 257.
Yeah.
So he was hitting the bombs, 46 homers, 100 RBIs. The thing about him too is you don't realize he's fast. He had 26 stolen bases, so that's pretty cool. But I'm taking Vladdy.
Yeah, that's who I'm taking.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Vladdy, I think, led the league in about 4 major statistical offensive categories, so you can't overlook that. He definitely had a better offensive season than Shohei did, but when you combine a 9-2 record on the mound and everything he did pitching wise, there's nothing that can compare to that. So he's definitely the MVP. Very crazy year. And David, in like a few seconds, fix the Angels for me, man. What do they got to do?
Man, that's a really good question, actually. I mean, the first thing you got to do is get Mike Trout back. That's number one. And you got to find out what's going on with Rendon. That's a whole nother thing. They didn't have him most of the year. And then you've got to go out and get like Max Scherzer and some more quality pitching. But they're not. It just didn't feel like they were missing that much. That they shouldn't have been as bad as they were. But that's Trout, Rendon, get you an ace pitcher. That's what I would do.
So the White Sox lead the AL Central with a 93-69 record. Hate to say that. It makes me want to throw up. The Cleveland Guardians, guys, we can no longer call them the Indians. They are done as the Indians and have officially became the Guardians as of today.
I mean, my goodness. Can you not, at least if you're going to change it, pick a different name, man?
Yeah, come on.
The Guardians. That's ridiculous. I'll never be able to pull for them.
Yeah. I'm with you.
That's awesome, man.
I was even on we talked about this. I won't belabor the point, but I was on board with what was the Rockers. That was part of it. And then there was what was the other one? But the Guardians, it was like the worst one they could pick.
They
should have gone back to was it the
Spiders?
Spiders.
That's what it was. The Spiders.
The team before the Indians. Go back to what they were before the Indians if you're going to do that and make it something that's already been Cleveland. Don't make 80 and 82. They deserved it. Below 500. Chris, I don't know if you know this, but they have the lowest payroll in baseball, and they contend every single year. It's crazy, man. And Detroit was 77 and 85, Kansas City 74 and 88, and Minnesota 73 and 89. So a lot of struggle in that division. A couple highlights out of this division. I think the Twins will come out of this mess pretty easy. They got a lot of talent. They just need a few pieces here. They did a great job at the trade deadline, getting some prospects that are going to help them in the future. The Royals and the Tigers showed some life at the end, and hats off to an unbelievable season by Salvador Perez, who led the league in home runs with 48 and RBI with 121 by a catcher. And he hit 273 with a 369 base percentage. Wow.
Question. Why is nobody talking about him for MVP?
Yeah.
Serious question.
No, that's a great question. And
You never hear his name.
No, it's a very good point. David, I mean, honestly, he had more than Vladdy offensively. He didn't have the average that he had, and
he's a premium catcher,
way better defensively than Vladdy. There's no doubt about that. So,
but you never hear his name. You never hear his name. And I read a stat somewhere that said that had he played in a different ballpark, like a bunch of his home runs would have been out of any other park except for where he played. Like he would have been well into the 50s with home runs had he played somewhere else. So what a season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely awesome, man. And he deserves everything they're going to give him. He's going to be Silver Slugger again as the catcher. That's a given. 2 years in a row for him. He's a real deal, man. And ever since the Royals won the World Series, he was a big part of that. He's a catcher you can win with, no doubt about it, man. And so we get into one of the most fun divisions that happened this year in the American League East. So the Rays did hit the 100 win mark, which is huge. 162 looks way better than 99 and 63. It just does. Those round numbers make you look way stronger than 99. So that was big for them to get to the 100 mark. Boston 92 and 70, and the Yankees 92 and 70. Boston held the tiebreaker. They will host the wild card. Toronto 91 and 71, and you like, man, 4 teams over 90 wins. There's no way that's ever happened. I've never heard of anything like that. If that's happened before, I'd be very shocked. I did not officially hear that stat or anything, but you wonder where all the losses come in this division. Then you see Baltimore at 52 and 110.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And they don't even look like they're anywhere close to contending. I mean, there's like nothing you can point at and say, well, they got this guy. I mean, they got Rutschman coming up here pretty soon, but I mean, it's like that's it. I mean, how does a team get so bad? And poor Baltimore.
It's kind of scary, right? Because that's like the ones that's at the big leagues. It's like, what does your farm system look like?
That's right.
I mean, it has to be bad.
That's an awesome point, man, because they would have called all those guys up in a season like this. It's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Go back to the Cubs, right? You said 67 different players. I'd have been trying everybody out in Baltimore, even the fans. Pull them out of the stands or something.
Set up the radar gun beyond right field. And if you can hit 80, you're in, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, no doubt.
So 3 of those teams are playoff teams, so we won't talk about them. We just talk about as much as we can about the Orioles. They do have the number 1 pick in the draft coming up in 2022. It's kind of funny how that came about. I sent this to you today, David. They had the Diamondbacks and them had the worst records in baseball. They tied at 52 and 110, which is crazy. They went back to last year, and they both had the same record last year. So then they got to revert back to 2019 to see who had the worst record there. And it was Baltimore. So they had to go back 3 years to see who had a worse record out of the 2 teams to determine who got the number 1 pick. That's crazy.
Wow.
So Baltimore will have the number 1 pick in the draft. I'm sure they're going to get an absolute stud out of that, which they need a ton of. More than
Feel sorry for that person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can you imagine? You get drafted, you're the best player in the country, and you go to Baltimore. Oh.
Well, look at it this way, you'll go straight to the majors. Like you won't be long in the minors.
That's right.
That's a good point, man. You got a quick route to the show, so that might be the good thing about it. Then he asked for a trade immediately. So Toronto, I want to talk about the Blue Jays, guys. We talked about them a lot before the show started, a little bit here to begin with. They had 4 players with over 100 RBI. You know the last team to do that, Chris?
No.
You should.
Temple, Tennessee Temple.
Yeah.
Close. That was close.
Was it the Bravos?
It was the Bravos. I couldn't tell you who the 4 are. I was meaning to look that up today, but I did not get a chance to. That's the only other time I believe that there was 4 guys on the same team with 100 RBI, which is crazy, man.
I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, you'll have to look that one up because I know they were talking about a lot of those guys were infielders, I think, for the Braves. So, and they came close to Braves themselves to doing that, if I'm not mistaken, with the guys they had on their team this year. They were battling with Albies and Freeman and
Man, I'll throw you a quick Brave stat. So our infield, we had almost everybody hit 30 home runs.
That's what it was that I heard. Yep. You got
Dansby was the one that was out, and he had 27.
You got it. That's what I was thinking of that connected the 100 ribbies, but you're totally right. It's the 30 homers, which is unheard of too by 4 infielders, which is unbelievable season by the Braves infield as well. Vladdy had 111 ribbies, Marcus Semien 102, Bo Bichette 102, Teoscar Hernandez 116. And guys, Randall Grichuk had 84 and Luis Gurriel had 81. So 2 guys in the 80s as well. They had a ton of talent. And George Springer, who we don't ever mention, had 50 ribbies, but he was out all year in 78 games. Otherwise, he would have hit over 100 ribbies too, man. And Kevin Biggio only played 79 games, 29 ribbies. He was kind of the down guy of all the young guys. He didn't really have that good of a year this year. They're hoping he can rebound next year. Marcus Semien now holds a single-season record for home runs by a second baseman. Defeated Davey Johnson of all people's record, David. That was kind of surprising to see. Davey Johnson was the guy who held that record forever. It's cool to see old-timers holding records still. Robbie Ray was a stud this year at 2.84 ERA. Steven Matz, 14-7. David with a 3.82 ERA. Ryu won 14 games. Alec Mano, I can't always slaughter his name. Manoa was 9-2 with a 3.22 ERA. And Berrios came over and was 5-4 for the Blue Jays with a 3.58 ERA. Team's tough, man. Very tough. What are your thoughts of the Blue Jays, Chris?
I'm really shocked that they're not in the playoffs. I'll just be honest with you. I think they would have made some noise for sure, especially if they'd have made it to the National League. I don't know. I need to look up what their record was against the National League this year, because I know the Braves. They own the Braves, and of course that's where I probably watched most of my Blue Jay games, was when they were destroying us. So yes, they look like the all-star team, but yeah, they tough. I think they'll be, especially they're all young pretty much. So I think they'll be my team to make the most noise next year, I think. Or they'll be one of my picks for sure.
Sure.
David, what are your thoughts on the Blue Jays, man? I know you talked about them a little bit earlier about how you were not wanting them to get in the playoffs, and I don't blame you, but what a season by them, huh? Those stats are crazy.
Don't you guys feel like there was a little bit of fool's gold in there, though? Steven Matz.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can believe in Robbie Ray being a Cy Young candidate. That's so, and weakness all year with the Blue Jays was the bullpen. It makes you wonder, had they went a little bit harder after some of these guys at the trade deadline, would they won a few extra games? But yeah, the Blue Jays are set up to be awesome for a long time. Like Chris said, Berrios is going to be there next year. Manoa is awesome. It's a West Virginia boy, in case you guys have forgotten.
Nice.
And so, yeah, man, I don't know what else to say. I'm glad we don't have to face him. Going to be good for a while. Hey, Simeon's a free agent, by the way. So that's another thing that could be different with the Blue Jays next year.
He did bank on that. He said, I want a 1-year deal to prove myself, and he's going to get the money now, man. So good on him. He's going to get paid for sure. So the NL West, guys, this was the division that had the 2 best teams in baseball. The Giants broke a franchise record, and they've been a franchise for 130 years. They have 107 wins. Unbelievable. 55 losses, and right behind him at 106 and 56, one game back, was the Dodgers. And those stinking Padres could not help the Dodgers this weekend. They were terrible like they've been all year long. 79 and 83.
That's the most surprising team in all of MLB to me is the Padres. I'm just going to be honest. I knew they had fallen out and really hadn't been paying attention. I was shocked when I looked at the stats before the show, the standings, to see that they were under 500. That blows my mind.
Yeah. And, they went and got pitching too. That's what was crazy.
Yeah.
They're probably the most disappointing team, I'd say.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's just a crazy stat that they weren't even 500. And a lot of people picked them to win the World Series. That was not us, but there were some people big time into this team thinking they were going to overrun the Dodgers. Nobody thought the Giants would be here, but thinking they would be well above the Dodgers and being where the Giants are right now, actually, to be honest with you. They kind of flip-flopped. Everybody thought the Giants were going to be that team, and it was not them. It was the Padres who struggled this year out of those two teams, and it's crazy how they both flip-flop. Colorado, 74 and 87. Arizona tied Baltimore at 52 and 110. Ouch. Are the Diamondbacks rough too? And Rockies said goodbye to Trevor Story. He will soon be at Wrigley Field running shortstop for the Cubbies. Can't wait for that. And we talked about the Padres being the biggest collapse and disappointment on the season, man. And I don't know. The Dodgers dodged a bullet with Gavin Lux. I don't know if you guys saw him running the wall the other day. It looked like he was going to be major hurt out of that full speed. But they always put that little tape outline on the wall out there and make fun of you when you do that kind of stuff. So that was really cool to see. And Gavin's okay, so Dodgers dodged a big bullet there. Overall thoughts in the NL West, David?
Yeah, I'm just still just completely blown away what the Giants did this year. And I don't think anybody picked them really to be better than third. I know we didn't. That's just amazing to me. And like I said, the fact that the Padres are under 500 is crazy. And, I think it's cool. I think the Rockies outpaced my expectations, to be honest with you. They're within striking distance of 500. So I haven't paid that much attention to them. Maybe they're closer than what I would have thought as well.
So I'll give you a stat that I heard today. Now, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I did hear it. So it said that the Dodgers was only in first place like 3 or 4 times their whole year that the Giants led them the whole year. That's a crazy stat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
I don't even know if it was 3 or 4 times. I'm thinking it was like one time for 2 days or something like that, wasn't it, DJ?
Yeah.
It wasn't much. Yeah, it was definitely very little time that they were in first place. It's like the Giants just ran the show. It was unreal.
It's crazy. Crazy stat.
It is.
But yeah, I'm with you. The Padres are definitely the most disappointing because they have the talent. I mean, they really had, and they have young guns too. And like I say, they went and got pitching. You would have thought they would have been. I actually had them going, probably taking over the Dodgers this year, but
yeah,
I was deadly wrong on that.
A lot of people were, man, and a lot of people missed out on the Padres and Giants this year for sure. So the NL Central, Brewers we will talk about soon at 95 and 67. Cardinals 90 and 72, and then the teams that did not make it, the Reds 83 and 79, Cubs 71 and 97. We talked enough about them. Pirates 61 and 101. So the Reds blew a wild card lead, guys. They were down the stretch in the first place wild card, not the first place one, but they were in a wild card spot. Jonathan India should win Rookie of the Year this year. Had an awesome season for them. Joey Votto, guys, got 99 RBI. I love that. He did not get 100. We talked about those round numbers. He fell short. I love Joey Votto. I love Joey Votto, Chris.
I don't know anybody that really does, do they? I'm not a fan of him either.
David loves him. David says Hall of Fame. Put him in first ballot.
Yeah, he's in. He's in the Hall of Fame. If you have DJ's low standards, he's for sure in the Hall of Fame.
So Nick Castellanos enters free agency, saying he will not re-sign with the Reds. 34 bombs, 100 ribby. He did get to 100. And shout out to Chicago St. Rita High School alum Mark Payton, who broke into the majors last year. And this year got 24 games played for the Reds. So hopefully he's on a stretch there where he can move forward with his career, guys. So real quick, Pirates aren't worth talking about. They're in a bad spot. So, Chris, what did you think about the Reds this year?
To be honest with you, I didn't really follow them too much. They played the Braves. I followed them then. But other than that, I really, they're just not a team I like. So I've never really followed them. I really don't know a whole lot about them, to be honest with you, other than Votto, And
you're excited. He only got 99 ribbies as well. So.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. It's just his demeanor or something.
Yeah,
I just don't like
it. Well, you're not the only one, and I'm not the only one. So, David, talk about the Reds, man. What happened down the stretch there? Well, I will give you one thing. The Cardinals winning 18 out of their last 19 did not help the Reds, but the Reds kind of shot themselves in the foot too. So.
Yeah, man, and they bombed like against the Pirates. That was the crazy thing. So while St. Louis was on this big run, the Reds had the easiest schedule of any of the contenders, and man, they just tanked. It's just hard to explain, and I cannot understand why they extended Brian Price. That kind of blows my mind. To be honest, they've underachieved each of the last 2 years, so I didn't really understand that move. But the Reds are close, man. The Reds are really close. I don't think they're really losing that much, and so that they ought to be good for the next couple of years. So you got to keep an eye on the Reds.
So to the NL East, where a lot of teams missed the playoffs except for one, the Braves, 88-73. Chris, there you go, man. And just well, I won't spoil that. We'll talk about that later. The Phillies, 82-80. The Mets, 77-85. Miami, 67-95. And Washington brings out the bottom at 65-97. Washington made all the trades like the Cubs did, threw themselves out of contention, got some prospects, trying to build for the future. They're not very far off either. They got some studs. But this may be the end of the line for Ryan Zimmerman as a national. He is the face of the franchise, guys, and so what a great career for him as well. Tough to see guys like Seager and Zimmerman go when they stay their whole careers with one team like that. That's really cool and very rare nowadays. So shout out to him. I'm not really a huge fan of Ryan Zimmerman by any means, but I do respect the fact that he stayed with them all these years and has had some really good seasons for them. So, guys, the Phillies, man, 82-80. So they are a 500 franchise if we've ever seen one, David. So it seems like every year they're right there, right? So the last 4 years, I go look it up. 2018, they're 80-82. 2019, 81-81. 2020, 28-32. And 82-80 this year. They are always right at 500. It's unbelievable. What is going to get them out of that? I know Rhys Hoskins' injury hurt them down the stretch. They choked versus the Braves. We talked about that earlier. But Bryce Harper did have an awesome season this year. 35 bombs, 84 ribbies, a 309 average, and a 429 on base. His on-base percentage is always high because he walks and gets hit a ton. Wheeler was awesome, 14-10, 278. But Nola was 9-9 with a 4.63. He's got to step up his game big time. And the rest of their pitching staff was awful. So, David, what is it going to take for the Phillies to get out of this 500 hole?
You hit the nail on the head, man. Your last sentence right there. It's got to have more pitching. Nola didn't pitch like himself, and then they're going to need to add to what they already have. They did improve the bullpen quite a bit last year, which was historically bad, in 2020. So adding some more pieces there is not going to hurt either. But yeah, it's that's it. It's pitching. Their hitting's very good enough to play with anybody. They just need some more pitching.
Chris, You get to see the Phillies a lot, man. What are your thoughts on them?
I mean, once you get past Wheeler, if you can make it past Wheeler, that's it, man. Because like you say, Noah, he was good up until probably like the All-Star game, break. But after that, he was just, you get him good one day, and then the next time he'd be bad news bear. I mean, he was probably, if he pitches halfway like he did the first part of the season, the Phillies are in.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Because 9-9 out of your supposed ace. I mean, Wheeler and him are supposed to be the 1 and 2, and you can pick which one is 1 and 2 out of those two. And yeah,
And you go back to that game one that we talked about this last series. I mean, we went into extra innings, because Wheeler was good. We just got the last hit.
very true, man. So the Mets, what a disaster of a season. Everything off the field, on the field was a absolute joke of a franchise. And we've talked about this a lot this year with them, but I mean, how do you not get away from this, David? It is what it is. I mean, these guys were awful. Baez, Lindor, booing the fans, Pilar putting the thumbs down. Your acting general manager gets a DUI. Your GM at the beginning of the year gets in crazy trouble for crazy texts he was sending, got fired. Lindor and McNeil fight over a rat and a squirrel in the dugout. That's what they said. They get in a big fight. This the 1970 Mets all over again, like the 30 for 30 we just saw on the Mets, David. It's kind of like the 70s for the Mets again. They're a joke. Their franchise is going down. You mentioned something pretty interesting about the offseason stuff. So what's going to fix the Mets, David?
Yeah, better leadership. I mean, the other rumor flying around is Theo Epstein to the Mets. So I think if they get some better leadership, they've already fired their manager. They just need to clean house, man. The Cohen, the owner, kind of kept most of the staff around that was there before. It's obvious now that didn't work. So I just think they need some leadership. Chris,
what do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree. What's scary is they were in first place for a long time. And then, they've got some pieces there, but I agree. Leader, you got to start from the top down. You get the right people leading. I think that's a whole different team.
That's a good point, man.
And I'm talking about from the GM, all the way from the GM down to the coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like I say, you got some players. I mean, it ain't like they're not Baltimore by no means,
Yeah.
They just.
DeGrom's still the greatest pitcher in the game.
I keep hoping he's going to come to Atlanta. That's what I'm hoping, man.
I mean, the dude's going to get in the Hall of Fame with like 100 wins or something because they can't score any runs. It's crazy.
He's unbelievable. And part of their problem was he was hurt, so the injury bug bit your ace and one of the best pitchers in the game, if not the best pitcher. So that hurts as well. A lot of things just went totally wrong for them this year. Be interesting to see, obviously, if they keep Baez. I'll be watching that one very intently. But, man, and the Marlins round out the division, and we talked about this last week. They got really good pitching for the future, so if they can get some offense rolling, maybe they can start turning around and have a season like they did in 2020. So that rounds it all up, guys. So we'll get into the AL wild card here real quick. We talked about this at the beginning of the show a little bit. So we kind of went over that already. So we all kind of picked the Yankees to win this game. So we'll kind of talk at a perspective of them facing the Rays. So since we all think that's going to happen, what do you think with the Rays this week, David? Are you liking your chances there?
The Rays are our daddy, DJ. I don't like our chances at all. I don't know what it is. They've had our number all year. A lot of the games haven't even really been close. No, I don't like our chances at all.
That's the one team you don't want the Yankees didn't want to face.
Yeah, that's right. I can't even explain it. I don't even understand it. Michael Wacha pitched like he was 22 again the other day against him. He has like a 5.20 ERA and shuts the Yankees out for 5. And it just doesn't make any sense. But they just have our number.
That'll be a really good series. I really believe that. The 5-game series there, it'll be very interesting to watch that one. The Rays are once again the favorites in the American League to get to the World Series. Chris, who do you think is going to win that series, Rays and Yankees?
I mean, you have to go with what the regular season showed, You have to go with Tampa. I can't. Maybe 5 games, Yankees get hot. The bats are going to have to do it, right? Yeah. They're just going to have to come alive.
And they're so streaky, man. They are so streaky.
Yeah.
When Giancarlo's hot, he is hot, and he is fun to watch. But when he's cold, he is ice.
Yeah.
And if you don't get good Giancarlo, we don't have a prayer, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think if the Yankees don't hit, it'll be. I don't think it'll be close. I think it'll be 3-1, something like that.
Yep, I agree.
I'm going to go against you guys and say the Yankees are going to win that series against the Rays. I've called from the beginning the Astros and the Yankees in the ALCS, so I'm going to stick by that pick. Not going to lie to you, I think the Rays are a better team, but I'm going to stick with what I said.
Can't wait to get to the Astro one there.
Oh, Lord. Don't even get him started.
Oh, this is my next one right here. Astros and the White Sox. So the White Sox fans in Game 3 are asked to wear black in the stands. They're asked to wear black because Game 3 will be their last game of the season. So it'll be a funeral type setting. So wear the black so you can fit in with what's going on the field. And that way, the batters, when they're up there, they can look out in the stands and see black, like there's nobody there, which is what it normally is anyway. All these bandwagon fans come in going to pack the house, but they're used to playing in front of nobody. So wear the black so it looks like nobody's there, and it can be a funeral type setting. I love it. Great job, White Sox.
Just bring the garbage can. I think this is going to be another 3-1 series. White Sox.
Oh,
attaboy.
Oh,
I really do.
Listen,
I think the White Sox are legit.
They match up good with the Astros too. Oh yeah. They got some good pitching. Their bullpen's pretty great, and they got a good lineup. So,
I really do.
White Sox in 5. Even though I put the Astros in the World Series at the beginning, I didn't know they were going to face the White Sox. So, White Sox in 5.
Oh man, enough of that garbage.
Question: What do you think Houston's going to beat them?
Oh, I think this is a 4-game series. Astros in 4. I think the White Sox will sneak one out. They'll get one win out of one of their starters, and that Houston offense is just impressive, man. They are loaded with talent. I just think they're a better team, and calling Astros in 4.
DJ, that's 2 Hall of Fame managers going at each other.
No, my goodness, no. That's one Hall of Fame manager facing a guy who cannot win the big game. Which we will see in the World Series yet again that he loses. So terrible, man. Absolutely terrible. So the NL wild card, we talked about this a little bit, but we didn't really make our picks here. So Chris did mention, he said the Cardinals are going to pull the upset here. I believe with Max Muncy out, Pujols or Bellinger has to fill that role. Bellinger has been awful. So Albert, RBI, Pujols should start this 1-game wild card. David, don't you shake your head at me. Would you put Bellinger in there with his 160 batting average over Pujols?
No, but Chris needs to know about your love affair with Albert Pujols. I mean, DJ literally picked up. I just got to let all of our fans know how dumb DJ is when it comes to fantasy baseball. He literally picked up and played Albert Pujols the whole last half of the season. And when I asked him why he was playing a guy that only played twice a week, he says, well, he gets RBIs every time he plays, and that's why.
All I need, man.
It's inexcusable. It's just inexcusable. But
that's why a Cubs fan's gonna be wearing a Dodgers outfit next week.
Exactly. Hey, the Cardinals are going to win this. I'm pulling pretty hard for them for my good old buddy Reagan Jet there in St. Louis. Now, he's not a season ticket holder, but he attends a bunch of the games. So I think the Cardinals are hot. They're going to push past the Dodgers.
Wow. No way. The Dodgers will win this game easily. Arenado goes hitless. That's what I'm going to predict right now. No hits for Nolan Arenado in this game. Scherzer dominates. Way bigger bulldog than Adam Wainwright. This game's over. It won't even be close, guys. It's over. But watch. Here's the thing. I will tell you this. They're going to go Wainwright to Flaherty to their closer. That's what they're going to try to do. Giovanni Gallardo's there. They're going to try to go that route, piece it together with Flaherty. Ain't going to work. Dodgers are way better. This game is over before it started. And then you guys are calling the Cardinals to go face the Giants. I'm calling the Dodgers. So what's your pick on that Giants-Cardinals 5-game series, David?
I mean, how do you go against the Giants, man? I mean, they've been the best team in baseball. So it's super weird. We've talked about this. You can't even name most of their players. I'm going with the Giants.
Yeah, I can't name one player from the Giants really. But I would definitely go with them. As long as it ain't the daggum Dodgers, I don't care. But I do believe Cardinals will win it, and then I think the Giants might sweep them if the Cardinals make it. I think they could sweep them.
TJ, I want to go back to that game. Here's how that game's going to play out. 0-0 in the ninth, and then they're going to turn the ball over to our boy Kenley Jansen.
Oh,
yep, that's what's going to happen. 1-0 Cardinals.
I like that.
Dodgers have no problem with the Giants. Beat them as well in the 5-game series in 4 games and advance to the NLCS is my prediction. So we got a really cool matchup on the other side with the Brewers and the Braves. One of the things that happened, Chris, with the Brewers, I don't know if you saw this, in the celebration, Devin Williams punched a wall and is out for the playoffs.
No friend. I'm sorry, Joe. I had to bring it up.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of celebration are you doing if you're punching a wall?
Why is Joe Friend always the first thing we think of when somebody punches a wall? I mean, that's just where you go with that.
Joe Friend, man. He's
yes,
great.
sir. Yes, sir. So the Brewers, I feel, are going to lose this series. Chris, I don't know if you knew this, but I did predict the Braves to win the World Series this year. It was kind of a long shot there for a while, but I'm sticking with that, man. This will be an awesome series. It will go all 5, but I'm going Braves. Chris, what do you think?
We go as long as the starting pitching goes. So as you know, I think we got 3 good pitchers. The crazy is we mirror each other pretty well. If you actually look at it, we just have the more power when it comes to the batting side of it. And that's what I would lean towards, is we just have more home run capability, more deep ball. The thing that scares me again is if we go into the bullpen. So I think it's 2 things for the Braves, right? How far can our starters go? And then can our bats stay hot? Because that's what we were Jekyll and Hyde, man. Our pitching would be lights out, but we couldn't score a run during the regular season. And then we scored 20 runs and have the worst pitching ever. So now we're starting to put it all together. And I think the Braves are going to take it.
Good deal. Totally agree. David, what do you think, man?
Sorry, guys. It's the Brewers. The Brewers, they got better starting pitching than the Braves. They got a better bullpen than the Braves. And their hitting is behind the Braves, but I think they're going to get just enough timely hits. I don't think they're going to be high-scoring games. I'm going with the Brewers.
Ooh.
Man, we used to be friends, man.
That's awesome, man. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. No doubt. This is the best time of the year. I love it. October baseball, and David, hockey's going to start really soon here too. So when you got both those sports going, nothing is better than that.
Is that field hockey like when the girls play in the short skirts, or hockey? What?
Oh, get out of here, man. That's an awesome sport. You guys just don't know nothing about that. So whatever.
Hockey's come to Tennessee, man. Nashville.
Yeah.
We got the Predators.
That's right.
I couldn't tell you the first thing about hockey, but we have them.
I always give hockey a chance. Like, I give them a sporting chance every year. I try to watch a game, and I just don't get it, DJ.
It's kind of like NASCAR, right? It's better in person. You go watch it live. I have no idea what's going on. They'll blow the whistle for icing and stuff, and I'm like, dude, what the heck? But the atmosphere is really cool in person.
It is. It's the second greatest sport in the world, but yeah.
Nope. That would be college football, DJ, in case you were wondering.
Get out of here, you guys. Whatever. That's
It's not even third or fourth or fifth, man.
No.
Wow. Well, Chris, man, we want to get into your career here a little bit to end the show, man. So I'm going to start with this first question. So talk us through your high school baseball career. So talk about who you played for and how everything went in high school for you as a player.
All right. So I went to Meigs County High School. We were the Tigers, the Mighty Tigers. That's where actually my mother grew up they're from that area. I was actually zoned to go to Bradley. I don't know if you know where Bradley is. It's one of the biggest state or schools in Tennessee, but we moved out there, went to Megs, grew up. I've been playing ball since I was 5. So it was definitely going to be playing some ball there. But I loved it. Played second, short, third. And I was kind of like a middle reliever, I guess is what you would call it in high school. But either batted lead off or second. And we had some good times. My freshman year, the year before I was a freshman, they went to the state. And in that year we come up, it was kind of like we'd make it there and then we'd fumble in the playoffs or something, man. It was just one of those things. We had teams come up and beat us, shouldn't have beat us. But yeah, man, it was a good career. I was just a tidbit of information. If I'd have known Coach Charleston's coach, Turner, if I'd have known him, I would have been a Charleston Panther.
Really?
Because a lot of my buddies that I grew up playing rec league with, that's where they went. They went to Charleston, but I didn't know Turner. But he's a good coach. He's a heck of a coach. And I know you've heard Shelton talk about him probably a ton, but he's the only, I will say this though, he is the only coach to throw a fungo bat through a fence. Yeah, that was awesome.
What?
Yeah. He got mad and turned around and threw it. When he threw it, it went straight through that fence. He couldn't do it. I'd give him 1,000 chances. He would never do it again. Ask Shelton about that next time you have him. Yeah.
That is amazing, man. Very cool.
Yeah, man. Like I say, we were AA. We were known back when I was in school for our girls. Our girls won state basketball for like 4 years in a row. They were lights out. Actually, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the girls being so good, we probably would have dropped down to single A. But they kept us up there because of our girls were so good.
Wow. That's awesome, man. So talk a little bit about as you're going through your high school career, what were some of your options as far as going to play baseball? You obviously decided to come to Tennessee Temple and play. Thank goodness you did. So talk about the transition from high school to college.
Yeah. I had a couple of looks. Hawassee, I don't know if you know them. They were looking. Tennessee Wesleyan, looked there. And then Temple come along. Do you know Brian Stevenson?
Nope.
He was, I think he was there. He was a year ahead of me, so you probably didn't. But I grew up playing ball with him since I was like 5, and he was down there. And I remember Coach T, he came and watched us. We was playing Notre Dame in the playoffs, and actually had a really good game that game. And then one thing led to the other. I knew him, I knew Brian, so I'd swear I ended up going. Never actually, Cleveland's only like 30 minutes from Chattanooga. I'd never heard of Tennessee Temple, never. And so we went down there and visited and everything. And then, it's probably one of the best things I ever did. You meet all these friends and stuff, man. It's cool. It was good times.
So right along those lines, that was actually my next question. Who were some of your favorite teammates as a player at Temple?
Oh man, we had some crazy ones. Jackson was good. Coop was good. John Goins, did you get to play with him? You didn't get to play with him? Oh my gosh, you would never forget him. So I'll give you a quick story on John Goins. He's probably shorter than I am. I'm 5'8". He's probably 5'7", but he was this big stocky guy, and he was crazy, absolutely crazy. So we're getting up there and we're playing University of the South, and he flies one out, didn't drive in to run, everything. He comes out, he's mad, and I don't know if he was going to cuss or what, but he was trying not to. He just got so mad, he reached over and grabbed a big old handful of grass and stuck it in his mouth, started chewing it like a cow. I was like, man, what are you doing, man? But he was a nutcase, absolutely nutcase. But yeah, that was some good times. Um, we went to Selma, Alabama to play. That was probably the scaredest I've ever been in a baseball game in my life. Coach T was like, we just about got in a fight. We played 2 7-inning games, and we were throwing at each other and all kind. It was just a crazy game. Coach T, I remember the last inning, he said, "Don't take your cleats off. Don't go shake their hands. Last out, everybody just go get on the bus. We'll drive up the road and we'll get off and change your clothes and all that kind of mess." It was bad. The fans were cussing us and everything like that. I was like, man, this is supposed to be a Christian school.
What school was it? Do you remember?
Selma, Alabama. They had a smooth infield, but man, they were crazy. But anyway, we were coming back on that ride, and it was pouring down rain, and the wipers on the bus quit. We pulled over to like the Dollar General, and we got a whole bunch of Rain-X. We just poured on there. So we drove like the last hour with no wipers, and it's just pouring down rain, and it was but we just kept stopping and putting more Rain-X on and everything. Finally got it back, man. It was crazy times like that. But now, as far as I'll give you one more. So Stevenson's probably 5'6", and we were getting ready for our tournament and stuff like that. So we were playing shorter college at Engle, and believe it or not, so I can't remember if it was my sophomore or junior year, our catchers get kicked off.
Oh.
We have no catchers on the team. So Coach T's like, all right, we're going to have tryout for catcher. So I was like, let me do it. I was joking. I was like, I want to do it. But man, when I got back there, it was great. That was probably my favorite year. One of my favorite years was catching, because he let me call the game and everything. It's just a whole different perspective back there. But everybody laughed at us because I was 5'7". And then I had to squat behind the home plate. All the umpires were like, dude, you better not let the ball hit me. But anyway, we're playing at Engle Stadium. Stevenson's pitching because we're just trying to, waste the game, save our arms for the tournament. He can't break window. His fastball, he probably couldn't break a window. He was a jump ball pitcher. He threw knuckleballs and curveballs and stuff like that. So their power hitter comes up. He's left-handed. And I'm like, we're going outside. We're pitching outside. So that way when he hits it, he's got to knock it 400 feet to knock it out, So we got that big outfield. So I keep giving a fastball outside, knuckleball outside. We get him like 2-2, 1-2, something like that. He has 2 strikes on him. So I kept giving the signal, and he kept shaking me off. So I called timeout. I walk out to the man. I was like, dude, what are you wanting? What are you going to throw? He said, I'm going to throw one high and outside, and then I'm going to bust him inside and blow it by him. I was like, no, you ain't. We ain't doing this. And he's like, no, man, we need to do it. So I was like, okay. So we throw the outside pitch. That gets us there, and then I set up on the inside. He throws that fastball in there, and that ball still ain't landed. It's the furthest ball I've ever seen. If you remember the light post in the gap in right field. Now we're talking gap, not down the line, in the gap. It hit it 3/4 up, and it was still going up when it hit the pole.
Oh my gosh.
He just sat there and laughed as he drove around. I was like, he just looked at, we laughed after the game. We talked to him. He was like, man, I can't believe you threw me a fastball inside. I said, me neither. I can't believe you did it either. Brian just put his glove over his head, man. He just started laughing. But that's probably the furthest ball I've ever seen hit in my life. He hit it good.
Wow, man. That's absolutely awesome. So talk to me about Engle Stadium. What are your thoughts on that, man?
It's awesome. Who can say they played their home games there,
Y'all got to play in the glory days too. When I first got there, that was the Lookouts last year there. And man, that field was unbelievable. And after that, it was downhill every year after that. I think DJ would agree once they weren't in control of it. But man, unbelievable.
Yeah, they kept it in great shape. Just, one, because the Lookouts play there, but also, you know, they had the state tournaments there for high school.
Mhm.
So it was really good. And then, you know, once, twice a year, we'd go feed the camel and paint the fence and stuff like that. It was cool because I'll give you a stat. The owner, I can't remember his name right now. Well, he's not the owner anymore, but the one that was on it when we were there. He said that Babe Ruth hit one out of there and it went over. You remember where the train tracks are in right field, and that's a shot. Like it would be a shot today with aluminum bats, and he hit one. It bounced into the train tracks.
Oh my god!
They have it in the record breaker, man. It was crazy. Can you imagine back then how far that ball went?
No,
Wow.
that is I know that's got to be what, at least 150, 200 feet past that giant wall out there. I mean,
Yep.
That's got to be about 150, 200 feet past that.
Oh yeah.
Holy cow, man!
Yeah. That's crazy. It's crazy to even think that.
Absolutely nuts, man. So, Chris, you got anything else you wanted to add?
Nah, just Cardinals gonna win, and then the Braves. We'll see the Giants in the finals.
Well, Chris, it was awesome to have you, man. Thanks so much for coming on. You were an awesome teammate. I only got to play with you 1 year. It was my redshirt year, and unfortunately, we didn't get to play together. But we were teammates for that 1 year, man. And it's great catching up with you. It's been a long time since I've seen you, man. And hopefully, sometime along the line here, we'll get together and have an alumni game or something close up there, just a softball game because we can't play baseball anymore. But
No, that'd be cool, man. Yeah, anytime.
absolutely, man. Well, thanks for joining us. And David, man, as always, been good, man. I hope your Yankees nothing but the worst. And good luck to the Red Sox. I'll be cheering really hard tomorrow.
I really appreciate that, DJ.
And what time's that game come on?
You know, and I haven't even looked, but you know for sure MLB will make it tough on us. It's going to be an 8:00 start.
Oh yeah.
8:00 Eastern. It'll be 7:00 my time, so it'll be a little more fan friendly for me, but tough on you guys for sure.
No doubt.
Mhm.
All right. Well, this is officially our last episode as the name Frenemies. So get on YouTube and like us and share this as much as you can. Once again, Chris, awesome to see you again, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Don't be a stranger. We'll definitely have to have you on, man. You did an awesome job. Everybody have a great night.
I appreciate you.
See you guys.